Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Tuesday, the 27th of August, 2024. Well, that was quite something, wasn't it? Absolutely mediocre. Yeah, I think is the word, mediocre, completely mediocre. And sad that we lost that game. But if you don't shoot, you don't score, and did we even have a shot on target all game? Don't know. Didn't feel like it. I don't think so. But yeah, if you didn't know, today was Matchday. Carabao Cup second round. We lost at home to Leyton Orient 1-0 by the magical 1-0. If you watched yesterday's video, you'll know that historically when we lose at home to Leyton Orient, it has been 1-0. And thus it was again. So this is the official match report from millfc.co.uk. Mill exit 24-25 Carabao Cup. Mill exited the Carabao Cup the second round stage on Tuesday night as Leyton Orient were 1-0 winners at the Den. Daniel Aguirre's first half goal was enough to settle a lacklustre tie in SC16. Joe Bryan, George Saville and George Honeyman were the only survivors from the Lions Sky Bet Championship trip to Hull City on Saturday, with Liam Roberts, Danny McNamara, Murray Wallace, Sean Hutchinson, Macaulay Langstaff and Adomu Amaku handed starts alongside Daniel Kelly, who made his Mill debut, and Femi Aziz, who registered the first start in a blue shirt. The bench was packed with talent, including Japhet Tanganga, Ryan Leonard, Duncan Watmore and Romain Esse. An early free kick from the O's was blocked, with Amaku then looking to burst towards goal, only to be snuffed out by the visitors' defence in the opening stages. Joe Bryan then stole possession before galloping down the left and feeding Amaku, but his cross was blocked behind. With 14 minutes played, however, the Lions were to fall behind as a cheap concession of possession allowed Aguirre the time and space to pick his spot and fire past Roberts into the bottom corner. The O's were confident and entering Mill's penalty area with force following the opener, whilst the Lions were sloppy on the ball going forward. More giving away of the ball led to another Orient chance 8 minutes from the break, but Wallace fortunately got into the way of Aguirre's shot. A double substitution at half-time saw Esse and Casper Denor replace Honeyman and Kelly, with further changes taking place just after the hour mark as Bryan and Maku made way for Leonard and Tom Bradshaw. A few, if any, clear-cut chances was to follow. Watmore replaced Aziz in the final throw of the dice by Harris with 74 minutes on the clock before Langstaff headed onto the roof of the net following a ball that bounced around the penalty area. Esse's through ball found the run of Langstaff, but the striker was unable to bring it under control, whilst Orient substitute Charlie Kelman thrashed an attempt into the side netting at the other end. Saville's shot flew over as the end of the Lions Carabao Cup campaign came into the view, and with McNamara's curling header wide, that fate was rubber stamped as David Rock blew his whistle following stoppage time. And the team was as follows: Roberts, McNamara on the right, Hutchinson, Wallace, Bryan, Kelly, Saville, Imaku, Honeyman, Aziz and Langstaff. So 4-2-3-1. The substitutes were Bradshaw on for Bryan on 64 minutes, Denor on for Kelly at half time, Leonard on for Imaku 64 minutes, Esse on for Honeyman at half time, Watmore on for Aziz in the 73rd minute. And the unused substitutes were Jensen, Cooper, Tanganga and Massey. And Bradshaw, the substitute, came off injured after at the end, so we're probably with about 10 minutes to go. Not 10 minutes of normal time, but 10 minutes of the game. He came off injured, and we apparently used all of our subs. So I think the League Cup, do they have different rules in the League Cup? Because that's far, you only allow 5 subs. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. 5 subs on 3 different occasions, and half time doesn't count. It's getting hard to keep up with all these changes, but yeah. So we were down to 10 men, and Bradshaw looks set to be injured now, just after we've let Nisbet go out on loan. Not that he's going to be any good, but so there you go. The match stats: Wallace and McNamara got booked. a crowd of 5,875 with 1,560 away fans. What can you say? What can you say? Well, we played, and I highlighted this before the game on the community tab on YouTube. I put up the team sheet. What Murray Wallace and Sean Hutchinson as the two central defenders. Absolute, like, they're just so slow. And then the way you've got them playing keep ball, just pass it around. Let's pass it around. And then throwing the young lad Kelly in, throwing him straight into it. Here's the thing, that he didn't play too badly, but no one was getting on the ball. I guess that Saville's job was to get on the ball, but it was literally just him and no one else. So we kept giving the ball away. And Kelly, what he did do well was chase down and press. But in terms of getting on the ball and passing it around, no. That didn't happen until you brought on players who were probably the two best players at the club for doing that, in Essie and Denor, on getting on the ball, keeping on the ball and passing the ball around. And then you bring on Leonard, who can do that as well. In terms of the goal, I don't think... Did they mention it here? They don't mention it. Where did they mention the goal? They just say cheap concession of possession. What happened was Aziz was on the wing. Just kind of went to dribble it and just had the ball picked off him. And that was it. They were away because it was... Like, Murray Wallace had no chance because there's the striker with pace and just done it for pace. It's absolutely, like, you know what I mean? And to think that you basically let Alex Mitchell go. Obviously, we've spoken about it a lot, that he wanted to play games. But you've let Alex Mitchell go, and you've kept Murray Wallace, and you've brought Sean Hutchinson back. And then you're going on about, for the rest of the team, signing young players. Like, you've signed Aziz and you've signed Kelly. And we've still got the aging, you've played with the two aging centre-backs. Why didn't Tanganga start? He's had a holiday for the first 3 games of the season. He hasn't played. Surely he needs some match time. Start him and then take him off. Why didn't you bring Cooper on? Because they were still pinging balls up in the air. No one was there. But we had no threat. We had so many corners. And Maku was winning a lot of corners. Langstaff as well. But you didn't bring Cooper on to try and... Obviously, you used up all the subs. I guess in terms of Watmore, not bringing Watmore and bringing Cooper on. Especially as Murray Wallace was booked. And I think it's pretty clear to see why Langstaff hasn't been playing now. His first touch is atrocious. He can't control the ball. So it looks like we've signed a player who's not good enough for the Championship. So that's why he hasn't been playing. Everyone's like playing Bradshaw. They can see in training. They know what's going on. And now Bradshaw's injured, so it looks like Langstaff has to play. Because I doubt they have the balls. They're not going to have the bollocks to bring Tom Lee on and drop Langstaff. And who else is there at the club? Who else is there? Who else can play up front? No one. So yeah, that was a complete disaster all round. Team selection was poor. Tactics selection was poor. I mentioned it in the video yesterday in terms of what's the motivation of the players involved. Leyton Orient, they know their motivation. Like they switched some of the players out. They put some of their reserve team players in, and they're highly motivated because they want to be in the team. Playing again, should we have played the 4-2-3-1? Probably not. Probably should have went 4-4-2. We got absolutely overrun in the middle of the park because Kelly and Honeyman were just pressing all the time, and there was massive gaps in the middle of the park because they were up. They were off running around, just pressing all the time, and then that leaves open space behind them. Yeah. But I mean, there was a massive chance. Massive chance this game was, as mentioned, the third round draw seeded. The 6 best teams in the country, the teams that are in Europe, they're going to be kept apart, and they have to be drawn against one of the other teams, and that could have been us. And we'll wait to see tomorrow. But if Leyton Orient get any of those big teams, or if they get a team like West Ham, the fans are the disappointment on the fans is really not going to be happy. But if they get someone like Barrow, I think, did Barrow go through today? I think Barrow beat Derby on penalties. So if it's Leyton Orient versus Barrow, obviously the Millwall fans are okay, not going to care, because they're not going to care that we missed out on that. But, and again, like in terms of moaning about the quality of player that we can get in the signings that we're making, winning this game, it's extra money. It's money that's over the budget, money that wasn't accounted for, and now that's gone. Like, there's no third round tie, which would have been more money. So that is not good at all. That is not good at all. So now we are moving on to some pictures from the game. In terms of going back, so in terms of probably saying man of the match, for Millwall, I would say probably Romain Esse. He seemed to come on, he seemed to care, he seemed to play quite well, and he seemed quite gutted that it wasn't working out. But I think overall, I would say Omar Beckles, and again, talking about what's my motivation, you got a 32-year-old player here, Omar Beckles. He's on about 115 games for Leyton Orient, and he started at Millwall's youth team, so he would have played at the New Den for the under-21s. And he's come back here, and he put in a performance that he needed to put in, and he didn't mess about. There were times he just kicked the ball out for a corner, kicked the ball out for a throw-in, just defending like you need to, not trying to be cute and pass it around and any of that stuff. Just kick it into Rosette. So yeah, Omar Beckles, well played, mate. Well played. So yeah, get some of the photos from the game. And again, Danny McNamara did quite well when he came on. Even though when he came on, obviously his main points are, I think the background's a bit, yeah, we're background. Danny McNamara's main points is that he's a good defender, but I can't, going forward, he did pretty well as well. So, and I think the main highlight of the game wasn't actually anything football related. It was this, which is from the sun.co.uk. Shocking moment, Carabao Cup clash suspenders, idiot pitch invader restrained by goalkeeping coach and carried away. An idiot fan forced the brief postponement of Mill's Carabao Cup clash with Leyton Orient. The Lions welcomed their London rivals to the Den on Tuesday night for a second round cup clash. You see, it's the one steward. He's had to take him on his own, and then everyone else turns up about 5 minutes later. But play was halted early in the second half when a fan invaded the pitch. The lout initially managed to evade the stewards, but was eventually manhandled after slipping on the turf, much to the delight of the then faithful. The steward's colleagues took their time arriving on the pitch, which prompted Mill's goalkeeping coach Andy Marshall to run towards the lout and help restrain him. Additional stewards eventually made their way onto the pitch, and the yob was promptly escorted off the pitch. Fans watching the game at home were quick to lambast the idiot supporter for briefly suspending play. And one wrote on X, Twitter, "You get idiots and you get this fool." Another said, "Pitch invader grappled to the turf. Mill goalkeeper coach Andy Marshall has come onto the pitch to help restrain him." So you can see him there. Savills dragging him off. Saying, "Hey, he's not worth it. He's not worth it, mate." You can see he's not happy. Lurch eventually turned up because he obviously didn't bother to break into a stride or a bit of a jog. He just walked over there. I imagine if he tried jogging, he'd probably break a leg or something. It's taken a fair while for security reinforcements to arrive, and another said it didn't go as expected. One remarked the stewards at Millwall were taking their time, and another said we need to sign that pitch invader. Showing he's good at escaping his man and getting to the box, which can't be said for much this squad. And Millwall fans also took to social media to praise Marshall for his no-nonsense approach to dealing with the fan. One wrote, "Andy Marshall for Millwall's man of the match." And another said, "Andy Marshall showing Millwall fight right there." And someone said, "Andy Marshall would not like to argue with him." And one remarked, "Andy Marshall didn't fuck around when he got there either." Yeah, I think he put the guy in like an arm lock or something, just pinned his arm to the ground. And another said, "Andy Marshall's done more running than any of these tonight." Mill's hopes of reaching the third round and mixing it with the Premier League big boys were dashed by the League One strugglers in the 14th minute when Dan Aguirre struck to score the only goal of the game. I think what happened was the geezer couldn't take it anymore, and he thought, you know what, I don't want to be here all season. I'm going to run on the pitch and get a football ban, get me banned for the season. I've had enough of it. A lot of fans are not happy. See, we've had a pretty poor start to the season. We've lost at home. We've lost at home to Watford. We've lost at home to Leyton Orient now. I thought the Den was supposed to be a fortress. Now, Bradshaw already got the tape on his left calf. He now has an injury. So yeah, apparently he's crocked. This is from londonnewsonline.co.uk, the South London Press's online website. Mill's need for a striker signing in transfer window intensified after serious hamstring injury to Tom Bradshaw. Millwall head coach Neil Harris has confirmed that Tom Bradshaw suffered a serious hamstring injury in tonight's EFL Cup loss to Leyton Orient. A bad night for the Lions, in which they failed to have a shot on target as they lost 1-0 to League One opposition, was made worse by their first choice striker being unable to finish the tie. Bradshaw had come on in the second half, but sat on the advertising hall in front of Coldblow Lane to watch the final minutes after initially going down for treatment near the corner flag. Mill have already been targeting bringing in the striker and have been keen on Middlesbrough's Josh Coburn, and they got absolutely thumped today. And he started that game. They got, I think it's 5-0 or 6-0 at home to Stoke. They got absolutely battered, and because it kicked off 15 minutes earlier than the Millwall game, so I was watching a bit of that, and yeah, it was 5-0 and they got absolutely battered. But so far the Teessiders have not had a bid that has met their valuation. It remains to be seen if the 21-year-old is allowed to leave either permanently or on loan before Friday's deadline. Kevin Nisbet has been loaned to Aberdeen, while summer edition Macaulay Langstaff's only serious game time has been in the EFL Cup, and he has so far failed to find the scoring touch he had at Notts County in League 2 last season. Asked about Bradshaw, Harris said, "Oh, it's a bad one. It's his hamstring. He's going to be a bad one. He'll have to be scanned, but you don't come off like you did and get an overnight fix. I don't want to put a time scale on it, but we're not going to see him for a period of time." We've talked a lot about needing to recruit at the top end of the pitch. I think tonight we see that very clearly with opportunities to impress. for players who've knocked on my door asking to play, and the clamour from the fan base at times to see them play. I don't think there will be many people knocking on my door on Friday afternoon. We need a number 9 anyway. We certainly need a number 9, maybe 2. The question is whether Mill's search for a striker is made harder or more expensive due to clubs knowing they are badly short in that area. Harris said, possibly, and that's why clubs are desperate to do business early and get people in. We're not being able to do, for whatever reason. Let's see what unfolds. I'm sure that we'll have players through the door by Friday at 11 o'clock, but for me, we need players in for Friday midday because that's the cut-off for the players to play. I know things are moving forward, just sometimes your hand is forced into business due to injuries, suspensions or illnesses, and you're better off knowing today that Tom Bradshaw's out for a period of time rather than finding out on Saturday. So yeah, Tom Bradshaw out probably at least a month. I would say at least a month, maybe more than that. And not that he's that good anyway, but he hasn't been that good. But who else we got? We got Langstaff, and he hasn't done anything, and there's a reason why they're not playing him. Because we see it tonight. His first touch is atrocious. So there you go. How do we play? Do we have to change formation now? I don't know. Maybe we have to play with 2 up front. Maybe Fleming come back. Fleming can go up top, even if he doesn't want to. Maybe that's what we do. I don't know, but it's a rough one, isn't it? So here we go. We've got London News Online.co.uk again, South London Press again. Obviously, yeah, I think it's Saturday. There was a story in the Irish Daily Mirror. I didn't put it on the channel because it's just some nonsense stuff. It's sort of a repeat of what was already mentioned about Adomu and Maku going out on loan. So yeah, Mill boss reacts to loan exit media reports surrounding Irish attacker Adomu Maku. Neil Harris has responded to reports in the Irish national media regarding a loan exit for Adomu Maku. The 20-year-old Millwall winger started in tonight's 1-0 EFL Cup loss to Leyton Orient. Emaku has scored 1 goal in 27 senior outings for the Lions and was replaced in the 64th minute in midweek at the Den. Asked about his future, Harris said, a lot of fans wanted to see him in the team. I gave him an opportunity tonight to play. And he's a work in progress. You know, he's a very young man. He's come from League of Ireland not long ago and broke into the Championship last year. He hasn't come through the ranks of League 2 or League 1. And always with young players, it's what is best. It's best to learn and develop on our terms, or do you loan players out to get minutes and learn on other people's time? And they're tough decisions the football club has to make at times. We will make the best decision for Adomu before Friday's deadline. What that is, I've really enjoyed working with him in pre-season. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes with our young players, a lot of work. And that's not just on the training pitch, but you know, in the classroom with video presentations and opportunities for minutes when they arise. Adomu's been outstanding in pre-season when he's come off the bench, not as effective from the start, and that's where we need to get him to, so that he's effective from the first minute rather than just the last 30. There will be a thought process for Adomu. There's a lot of noise around Adomu. He needs to just focus on his football and development here. We'll make the best decisions for the lad. Harris made 8 changes for the match, including a debut for Daniel Kelly, the 18-year-old midfielder signed from Celtic. There was also a first start for winger Femi Aziz, who arrived from Reading for a fee in the region of £1 million last week. Kelly was replaced by Casper Dinor at the break. I wanted to play Dan just to give him a feel for the stadium, said Harris. To get that in that 45 minutes, there were some really good parts to his game and some bits that he needs to develop. And I remind everyone, he's very, very young, man. He just turned 18. We will have to be really patient with him. Femi made his full debut at the Den. Will be better for the experience, for sure. It was a reminder for everyone that we've got a lot of work to do, but we have to be really good in 3 league games. We've only got 1 point, and that's a fact, but we deserve 5 or 7. Tonight was a different team, a different way of playing, and we were poor. I expect us to back to the standards we showed in the league. So yeah, there you go. That is how... So he made 8 changes today. So 8 changes. Obviously, in terms of the gelling of a team and the team working together, that's kind of disjointed it. But what that means is in real terms that our bench players could not beat a team that's at the bottom of League One. So take that as you will. Now, there was another game today. I didn't even know about it. This kind of popped up out of nowhere, a bit of a surprise. Away up at Newcastle United. So, yeah, the under-18s travelled all the way to Newcastle, to draw 1-1, which is a credible result. They've, due to their cup exploits last season, where they won the PDL Cup, and they got to the semi-finals of the FA Youth Cup. They were invited to make up the numbers in the under-18 Premier League Cup, which is the PDL Cup is a professional development league, and it's for, I don't know what it's called, but it's for the class, whatever it is. So that it's for the teams that aren't Premier League academies. That doesn't mean that the academies are Premier League teams. It means category 1. Category 1 is the highest level. So you can have teams in the Premier League that have a team that isn't category 1. I think Brentford are one. And I found out the other day. So for the under 21s, Brentford are in our league this season. It's a bit of a weird one. Like, I thought they decided not to do that. Well, I found out why Brentford have rejoined the youth system and finished all that nonsense. For UEFA competitions, teams cannot play in them if they do not have a youth team. So that's why they got rid of that Brentford B nonsense and brought back the under 21s, because they have serious consideration to be involved in UEFA competitions, and they wouldn't be able to if they didn't have a proper youth team. So that's why Brentford brought their youth team back. So yeah, anyway, this happened up at the train. This isn't held at, the games aren't held at the grounds. That's only the FA Youth Cup as a requirement for teams to do that, which is why the FA Youth Cup is the Premier Cup competition for that level, that age restriction. They're all at a training ground. So this wasn't at St James's Park. It was Newcastle's training ground. So Newcastle United, this is from Newcastle's website, newcastleunited.com. Newcastle United under-18s began their 24-25 under-18 Premier League Cup campaign with a 1-1 draw against Millwall on Tuesday afternoon. The two teenagers trailed in the first half of the opening Group F clash at the Magpies' Little Benton Academy following Elias Mansour's deflected effort. 16-year-old winger Matheus Ferreira drew the hosts level towards the hour mark, firing home from Jake Durrant's cross, but the spoils were ultimately shared on Tyneside. Joe Brayson went close to firing the young Magpies into an early lead as the teenage forward, son of former Magpies forward Paul, saw a close range header from Ferreira's teasing cross wide of the target. Rory Finneran, making his Newcastle debut at under-18 level following his move from Blackburn Rovers, completed a driving run before the Republic of Ireland under-17 international threaded a neat pass into Ferreira's path, but his resultant effort struck the side netting. In the 22nd minute, Mill took the lead through Mansour after the United defence were unable to clear their lines from a corner, and the Lions defender striker goal took a slight deflection before flying into the net. Newcastle ought to have drawn level shortly after conceding, as striker Casey Wooster's initial effort was parried by Mill goalkeeper Jacob Przewozny before the 17-year-old denied Ferreira from point-blank range, turning the rebound out for a corner. What a save! Adam Harrison, who signed his first professional contract with his boyhood club last month, produced an important save to prevent Ellidon O'Boyle doubling the visitors' lead, standing tall before blocking the striker's placed attempt at goal. United's youngsters maintained their push for an equaliser in the second half as Sean Neve, a representative of England at under-17 level, completed a surging run from distance before the 17-year-old's cross-come shot from the left byline was turned out for a corner by Przewozny. In the 59th minute, Newcastle drew level through Ferreira, who latched onto Durrant's in-swinging cross from the left flank before drilling a first-time strike into the net. Millwall went close to quickly regaining the lead as O'Boyle intercepted Harrison's pass from his own box, but lashed his effort over the crossbar. Durrant almost turned from provider to goalscorer as the 16-year-old's left-back's fierce effort directed towards the front left-hand post was pushed away by Preswosny. So it sounds like Preswosny had a hell of a game. And there's no team there for Millwall. Obviously, they don't really do that. And I don't really cover the under-18s rather than just the cup games. But yeah, not a bad result. Going up to Newcastle United and going toe-to-toe with them. And in the Premier League Cup, so they got the groups. So because they got groups of 4, they need clubs to come in and make up the numbers, which is why Millwall are invited. And it's in your group, there's 2 northern teams, 2 southern teams. And you don't play home and away. So Millwall have only got 3 games. So quite luckily, I don't know if this was a draw or what, we've only got 1 away game, and that was the Newcastle United game. The other 2 games are at home. And remember, that Millwall team isn't even the strongest it could be, because Alfie Massey was on the bench for the first team today. He could have played in that game, and I think maybe Daniel Kelly could have played as well. So, that wasn't even their strongest team. So yeah, obviously these games are at the training ground. We can't go to them, but if you look on the right, this is from millfc.co.uk, it's the matches. So there you go. The next one is on Saturday the 5th of October at Mill's training ground. That's a home game against Stoke. And then they got to play Chelsea in November at Calmont Road again. So 2 home games, 1 away game. The away game they got a draw in. Happy days, and see what they have to do. And it might be, so in the other game you can see Chelsea won that. The Chelsea might already be qualified for that game by the time we play them. So that might be helpful in terms of us trying to get a result and get through into the knockout stages, where it's the top 2 go through. And there you go. That would be fantastic if we could do well in that competition. And there you go. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.